Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Rosenberg, and I've been giving you a lot of information about the anatomy of Qi, and many of you have sent me some very interesting emails, and I'd like to address a question that came in a few times about depression, and how does depression relate to Qi, or your energy. I'm going to give you a quick little overview of the emotional ties between our energy and our body and what we experience, and tools on how to break that cycle. In Chinese medicine, they say that in every organ we experience an emotion. They're intricately linked together. The heart is related to joy. That makes sense. You experience joy and love, you feel it in your heart. The lungs have to do with grief. When somebody's crying and they're upset over something, they're hunched over and they're crying. They feel it in this region here. The stomach is related to thinking. And everybody knows if you're not thinking clearly, you get an upset stomach, and long-term indulgence of things that upset you, and always ruminating, if you will, in your head over things, outcomes that may not work out. You can give yourself an ulcer. Okay? The liver is related to anger. So it is well known in the medical world that alcoholics who, in the later stages when the liver is going through a breakdown, often have frequent outbursts of anger. See the connection there? And the kidneys are related to fear. And literally, there are some creatures, little dogs, they get so afraid of another dog approaching them, they pee on the floor. So these emotions, again, are intricately tied with our organs, and the overindulgence in any of those emotions can bring a breakdown in the body. Now, earlier on in Volume 1 of Anatomy of Qi, and this is kind of like a sidebar of a question, it's not a chapter unto itself, I explained that the body is like a tube that energy is supposed to flow through. And if there's a kink in that tube, there's a little glitch in how the energy is supposed to be flowing. There'll be a little reverberation inside that tube. And all of a sudden, if that happens enough and frequently enough, it actually becomes a blockage of energy. So let's say somebody, one way it could happen, you could have an injury in a certain area of your body. Let's say you get punched in the shoulder, and that happens to be an area that you hold tight for long periods of time, and you hold your shoulders tight, and all of a sudden you find that you're overcome with grief. Well, that's a possibility, and it does happen. I've worked on people, adjusted them, and after I worked on them and they felt balanced and neutral, I adjusted them, I rubbed some acupuncture points out, I did a little craniosacral work, I got everything working the way it could be best for that person at that time. They start to laugh, they feel good. There's joy, because the area that was blocked and locked up is no longer blocked and locked up. So there are a few emotions that could, obviously lack of joy could lead to depression. If somebody has a lot of experience with materials that they might ingest that always hurt their lungs, and they're always that constant physical bringing in of the chest could also lead to depression. Somebody who thinks a lot in a negative way, and in a positive way, our mind is capable of having the same thoughts as Stephen Hawking or Albert Einstein. But in a negative sense, people can worry themselves to death, and we're all included in that, myself too, where we could get this energy stirring up about this thought that we can't stop. And that blocks the energy, and we get depressed. Okay? Obviously, somebody who lives in a constant state of fear is going to be depressed. And also, if somebody's angry, after a while, it eats at you. So again, if you step back from the emotions and the general explanation in the Western world of where those things come from, and just look at the body as this entity that energy is supposed to flow through, if the energy gets stuck in certain patterns, you're going to experience a change in your physiology, a change in your emotional state, and it could lead to depression in some people. Now, that being said, there are things that you could do about it. First of all, if you just get out around the block, run around the block, walk, move your body, things that are stuck. Let's say the lung channel is congested because you're upset over something, and you walk and you go like this, all of a sudden your shoulders start to relax. And at the end of a 3-mile walk, you feel pretty good. Well, you've moved energy, chi, air, in yogic philosophy, pran, energy. You've moved that energy, the air, through your lungs. You've opened up channels that were otherwise constricted. You've swung your arms to break up these fixations in the shoulders, which long-term would affect the acupuncture points and cause the experience of depression that you're experiencing. All of that, just a brisk walk. Okay, stretching. If you stretch that same area and opened it up, you're removing the blockages. Now I'm going to give you a little I'm going to show some points that you could press that could help. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about one word that can actually set you free. So first I'm going to start with that one word that can set you free. You ready? I hope so. It's the word because. When somebody says, I'm upset because, I'm depressed because, I'm angry because, notice the because comes after. The truth is that the whole spectrum of human emotions is in each and every one of us. Before the because, when we were little tiny babies, before we even knew anything about the environment, we still experienced fear, love, anger, joy, all that in the crib with our diapers or without our diapers. We experienced those emotions as just raw, pure emotions. And then as we get older, the first, second, third year, you say, well, I'm upset because Jimmy took my toy. That's why I'm upset. Well, actually, the justification happened after. Now, there's great power in this. Follow me. If you stop with the because and just say, I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm afraid, I'm this, now you can work on it. As long as there's a because, there's blame, you're putting it outside of you, but you experience the negativity inside. So let's say I'm mad at Timmy for taking my toy. Timmy's down the block, he's got my toy. He doesn't know. He doesn't experience the angst and pain that I experience. Only I experience that. Or if I say to myself, now by the way, that has nothing to do with whether I go back up the block and ask Timmy for my toy back. That has nothing to do with it. That's the outside action of the world. I'm talking about the inside action that if left unattended to will lead to depression. Because if there's enough becauses there, you can't pull yourself out of it. All your energies get blocked in all the channels that are related to the heart, that are related to the lungs, that are related to the kidneys, that are related to the liver. And next thing you know, you don't feel right and you get depressed. It's like you're bound up. So again, if you take that analogy from Volume 1, and if you're new to this series, go back and watch Volume 1, 2, 3 again. It might give you some ideas that you might have missed, or you might hear it in a new way after I explain it this way. If you think about this tube that you're supposed to be, that energy naturally flows through, okay? And you kink it and twist it, all of a sudden it's hard not to be depressed. But if we take that and we open it up and we stretch it out, that's why I have my website, How to Stretch, in a backwards way. If you stretch your muscles, all of a sudden the becauses in your life seem to have less power over you. Now they'll still be there, don't get me wrong. If they're not, trust me, they'll still be there, these little voices in your head with the word because. So this is what you do. Make a little goal to yourself that you're going to sacrifice the word because, and just own the fact that you feel certain ways, and that it's normal and natural for a human being, a creature on this planet, to feel this way. Now, getting back to one of the earlier things, it was important, one of the earlier videos, it was important as a creature that we felt this whole spectrum of emotions. Fear got us to run away from a bear. Joy helped us love somebody so we can love our babies and love other people to make babies and things like that. These were all important emotions. Thinking was important. Okay, it still is important. Grief was important, and a lot of people, if they repress these things, they went getting diseases later on in life as a result of that repression. When somebody says, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of it. Yeah, you're afraid of it. It's in ourselves to feel fear. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be alive. Instinctively, if we saw a snake and we didn't feel something right away, okay, we would get bit by that snake and we'd be dead. So we feel fear. Now, if you say I don't feel any fear, and believe me, I'm a guy. I was one of those guys too. what winds up happening is you're denying, you're repressing that with greater tension, leading to greater energy blocks. So a more sane way to look at it is that. So let's say, I'm a martial artist, I'm a fighter. There were plenty of times I would fight 2 opponents at once. Did I feel fear? Absolutely. Did I let it rule me? No. So I was still able to move my arms and was able to do, and my legs, everything I was able to do to achieve my goal of defending myself, while admitting that there was a part of my body, a part of my mind, a part of the mind-body, if you will, that experienced fear. Looked at it that way, it's not so scary. And everything is like that, by the way. And if you, like I said, the way to cut through the thickness of this whole state that we experience is by acknowledging that the word because keeps us stuck. So drop the word because. It's a gift if you drop it. Okay? Next.